Look, it's exactly where it was back in November. Well, Brandon, the season didn't start till December. What are you talking about? Well, when James Harden said, I want to get out of Houston and I want to go to the Brooklyn Nets, and we started that debate, I said, oh, boy, if those three get together, it can be over. It will be over. And so it hasn't wavered since that moment. Like this team, those three together, they checked the box. They answered the question, who's willing to sacrifice? Well, all three are willing to sacrifice. I know it's a small sample size, only 7 or 8 games, but they've shown us when they're on the court what they're willing to do. What is James Harden going to do? He can't play off the ball. Well, he goes to point guard. Right? Like, think about all those things that we were questioning before the season, and in the small sample size, they already answered it, and they're sitting at the top of the East. Look at last night, Nick. Like, if last night doesn't give you the confidence or even scare you on how good this team is, I don't know what is. If you watch the game, Kevin Durant didn't play the first quarter. What was happening? Yeah. Kyrie Irving was doing everything he could to keep the team close. And they stayed close. Right. But if you were really watching the game, you was like, man, any minute, any moment, the Suns are about to pull away and separate. Like it wasn't, you felt it. And then all of a sudden, 8 minutes left in the second quarter, Kevin Durant comes into the game. He checks in. I think Doris Burke may even say, like, I think that's Kevin Durant going to the scores table. The whole energy changed in the whole arena. And then all of a sudden he comes in, and from that moment on, they were in full control. And they show who they are. Right. And that's with 2 of the 3 big 3. Like, come on, man. Like, if last night didn't show you how awesome this team is and give you the confidence or scare you, I don't know what will.
Okay, so a few things. One is KD was sensational. And KD is an unstoppable offensive force. And the ease with which he gets buckets it's not quite unprecedented in NBA history, but it is damn close to unprecedented. And there is no one in the league that matches up with him. Nobody. There is not a player in the league, it's like that guy will slow KD down. You just have to go into a game, say he's going to get 30. What can we do with the other guys? So, and he showed you that last night in his first game, full game back after dealing with the Charlie horse, the thigh contusion that kept him out for a few games. But before I give my thoughts on this game, I have a little, I must admit, Brandon, I'm a little confused. Because while I wasn't here last week, the good thing about these shows is they are broadcast on television. I was able to
bring
watch
it up,
them.
I was going
to. Last week, I do think
I was about to bring it up.
You said, I'm finally going to admit I'm a little concerned. And so now you're like memory holding that. You're like, nope, same place I've been the whole time. Well, there was a slight dip in your confidence level last week because James Harden's going to be out for the rest of the regular season. And now it's back to where we need it to be, right? Am I wrong? Tell me. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Tell me if I'm wrong, if I missed translation.
No, you're right. I had to answer the question is because KD just went down. So I said, yes, I am a bit concerned and frustrated because we want to see all 3 together. But how I ended, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jenna and Wilds, I said, but this is what sports is. You have to deal with what you're giving. And right now, they're dealing with health issues. So they have to embrace it, and they'll be fine. Like, the reality is they're going to go into the playoffs because they're only, they only have 11 games left, and we're not going to see them build the chemistry and continuity needed to be a really good team, like one with a lot of confidence. So that's what I said, Kevin. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, no. Well, I mean, you played both sides of it. You also said, quote, "Thank goodness Nick is not here, so I can finally admit that I'm nervous." But we'll delete that from the first things first archives.
He mentioned that multiple times.
Nick, I'm a narratives guy, and I love a good comeback story. There's nothing better in sports. But there's a certain point where I'm like, you know what? Let's ease back on the comebacks. I'm a little comebacked out, like, KD, back from his Achilles, he gets 22 points. Fantastic. Hold on a second. KD, back from his hamstring, 5 for 5. KD, what was that? Oh, KD back from his Charlie horse, scores 33 points. Just enough. When I got that many comebacks, it's a cause for concern. Like in the Jordan flu game once, if you're like, oh, Jordan, he's sick again, more flu.
Right.
Influenza bug got Jordan again in the playoffs. Like, whoa, what's going on with this guy? Oh, a whole lot of flu. So I'm happy to see KD on the court, Nick, but my happiness is tempered with the fact that we're talking about his third comeback this year.
So that's totally fair and legitimate, and I hope Durant is healthy the rest of the way, because I don't know if Harden's going to be healthy the rest of the way. Those soft tissue hamstring injuries can linger, and this is a player who has been such an Iron Man in his career. I actually think it kind of works against him now because he doesn't have a history of missing time and coming back. So they obviously need KD to stay healthy the rest of the way. But I'm going to tell you the best thing and the worst thing from the Nets yesterday and over the weekend. The best thing is Philly stumbled, and I have been consistent on this.
Yeah,
the one seed desperately matters. And Brooklyn, after that bad last weekend before, when they lose the game that I didn't think they should have, they almost came back against Philly and then they didn't, and they had lost a couple days prior. Right. All of a sudden, they were the 2. Now, I still think Philly, because of the tiebreaker and the schedules down the stretch, is going to catch them. But right now, Brooklyn's the 1 seed. And that 1 seed, I promise, is going to matter because Milwaukee is going to be a better version of itself this postseason than last postseason. The part that is not a positive, Brandon, because I know how closely you were watching the game, when they did the mic'd up with Steve Nash, I think it was after the third quarter or during the third quarter, and you hear him imploring his guys to just do something on defense. He's like, guys, can we pick them up by the 3-point line? We got to do and talk to each other. Right. And please, do. And then the first 3 possessions, guys got lost and immediately scored. So I am still deeply concerned about the Nets defense because I don't think that's going to be fixable. But the fact that they're a game up on Philly now is a huge thing for their playoff success down the road.
Yeah, for me, I never put a lot of value into the number 1 seed because of those 3 guys. Now, obviously, we haven't seen them together, Nick. But yesterday, watching that game, the reason why I was so giddy and excited talking about it is because that first quarter, Kyrie was playing, he was balling. I mean, he was playing lights out. It was just nuts seeing what he was doing. And he was by himself. And there was a big question, when is KD coming in the game? So you could see it and you can just feel it that this team, the Suns team, was just going to take off. And then all of a sudden, KD comes in the game and the entire energy changed. And they start dominating and they control that game from that point on. So when you look at that, Jenna, that's what just gives me the hope that when these 3 are together, I don't see who's going to be able to play with them. This is the Suns. The Suns are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. They play complete basketball.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.